Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to bling out the super cute Starbucks pink tumbler. It's super cute. I think it came out last year, at the end of last year or the beginning of this year, I'm not sure. But they released a few tumblers that had a little keychain like this. And I think they're super cute, and I love that it can be removed. That is a plus. So when I am blinging it out, it does not get messed up. I'm gonna bling out the whole thing. I hope Starbucks comes out with more of these tumblers. They are super cute with the little chains. I just love it. I went on ahead and took it off so we can begin. So I am gonna go ahead and begin by filing down the whole cup. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the lid and the little sticker right here. And I'm going to go ahead and file it down. So like I said, I'm going to file the whole thing down because I am going to bling out the whole thing, including the letters. When I am blinging out tumblers that already have a color on them, like this, I do try to be very careful at the beginning because depending on the file you're using, you might file down a little bit too much, right there you guys saw me switch to a nail buffer. That's still gonna give me those scratches I need for that glue to bond to the cup with the rhinestones, but it's not gonna be scratching off too much of the paint that's already on the cup. That's something you guys want to take into consideration when you are filing down a cup with paint on it. Make sure you get your scratches, but not too much. That's going to remove the paint. And then once I am done filing down the cup, I'm going to go ahead and wipe it down with some alcohol wipes. Right there you guys see all that dust and paint getting off the cup. Don't worry, that's not the paint from the cup. That's what I filed down, all that dust on it. And I'm going to begin by blinging out the letters. I'm going to let the cup dry, and these are the rhinestones I'm going to be using to bling out the letters. They are white rhinestones, and it is a mixed pack. I am going to be using Bob Smith 30-minute cure epoxy. I'm going to go ahead and mix it right here on some sticky notes. Half of each makes the epoxy. Right there, you guys see me pouring it at the same exact time so I can see its even amounts. And I'm going to go ahead and mix it with a toothpick. Mix it very well. Make sure it's completely mixed together for a few seconds. Go ahead and mix it, and now it's ready. I'm going to start applying it with the same toothpick to only my letters. That is what I'm going to bling out first. And I'm only going to put it on a few of them, about half, because the epoxy does dry in 30 minutes. So that is how much time I have to work on them. So very carefully, I know it looks like I'm going fast, guys. I sped it up for you guys, but please take your time when you are applying the epoxy. You don't want it to be runny, getting all over the place or smearing down the cup. I did decide to put a bit of the epoxy in between the letters where those little pink rhinestones are going to go, the ones I just showed you, so I don't have to be dealing with it later on when I'm blinging out the rest of the cup. So I'm going to go ahead and start applying my rhinestones, beginning with the first letter and so on and so forth. I placed the epoxy all the way to the letter B, so I have 30 minutes to do that. This is a mixed pack of white rhinestones. And like I said, I was going to use my pink ones to fill in those tiny little gaps so I don't have to do it later. Because then I would have to be dealing with applying epoxy to those super small areas. And this is just going to make it easier for me. Make sure when you are blinging out the letters, make sure your rhinestones are not overlapping the lines of the letters so it looks nice and neat. And like I said, this is a mixed pack. If you guys are wondering what size they are, its sizes ranging from SS20 all the way to SS4. So you guys just see me filling in the letters with the white rhinestones and those tiny little pink gaps. Later on, while I am blinging out the cup, you guys will see me fill in the rest of the gaps in between the letters. Make sure your rhinestones are not overlapping each other. And do keep an eye on the rhinestones because since the epoxy, is still fresh, at the beginning they do tend to slide a bit. So just always remember to double check your work as you are going. And like I had told you guys, I did only apply the epoxy to the fifth letter, letter B, because I do have those 30 minutes. So I did make a new batch of the epoxy just for the rest of the letters. So it's fresh and I can apply my rhinestones. I'm gonna finish up these letters so we can move on to the rest of the cup. Like I said, remember, always double check your work. If you guys ever have any questions for me that you feel like I didn't answer in the video, don't be shy. Go ahead and comment down below and I'll do my best to answer all your questions. Now that I am done blinging out my letters, I'm going to go ahead and double check everything, make sure all the rhinestones are where they're supposed to be. And I'm going to start moving on to the rest of the cup. I have my pink AB rhinestones right here ready to go. Divided, I have the mix pack, and then on the other side, it's the SS20 that I'm going to be using to bling out the majority of the cup. I'm going to do all around, going in circles basically, and then filling out the middle as I go. I did a brand new batch of my epoxy and I am applying it to the top of the cup. I'm going to begin from the top, moving down towards the bottom. As you can see, I am only applying it all around, but a very thin area, so I can fit about maybe 4 rows, because like I said, the epoxy does work for 30 minutes. That's how long I have to apply my rhinestones before it dries out, and it's going to be easier to work with. So I didn't apply it all over the cup, guys, just that small area to begin. And I did put the lid on it so it works as a guide to where my rhinestones need to be, making sure that that first row is not going to be overlapping, that that lid is still going to be able to fit, because also if they are overlapping, it's gonna cause your rhinestones to pop off. So you guys see me applying that first row of those SS20 AB pink rhinestones. I'm going all the way around. Remember, the epoxy is fresh, so the rhinestones can't slip. Just go ahead and check on them every once in a while. Make sure they are nice and straight. And do remember that this is your first row, so it needs to be as perfect as it can be so the rest of your cup comes out looking good. And I'm just going all the way around. I am going to be doing a honeycomb look for the whole cup. So this is my first row. I'm going all the way around. And that easy and that simple, guys. Now, I'm gonna double check everything, make sure my row is nice and straight. And this is gonna work as my guide for the rest of my cup, okay? Beginning with my second row. If you guys want just to do this first row by itself, just place epoxy for that first row, make a little bit, and let that completely dry, and that's going to be your guide, okay, for your honeycomb. So right there you guys see me placing my second row all the way around of the SS20, and I'm placing those rhinestones right in between the above line of rhinestones. If you guys can see that right there, that's what's going to create that honeycomb look. And what's awesome about this is that this tumbler is even all the way around, so that honeycomb look is going to look beautiful. You guys see how my rhinestones fit perfectly all the way around. And now that I am getting closer to the letters, you guys are going to see me filling in those gaps. I'm starting off my row of the SS20 right next to the S, and I was still able to fit one more row, making that 3 rows right there before I get to the S. Now between that S and that 3rd row of rhinestones, I'm going to start filling in the gaps. Again, continuing my line of the SS20 all the way around. This is how my first section looks. You can already start to see that honeycomb effect. And I'm gonna do a fresh batch of the epoxy and apply it to the cup again. Remember, you want to work by sections to make sure your epoxy does not dry out on you. And I am applying it with that toothpick very carefully. You do want to make sure it's not too bulky or too much of the epoxy, because then it can run to your rhinestones that are already applied to the cup and it's gonna make a mess. So do make sure you have nice thin layers of it. That is enough to hold on to those rhinestones also. Not too thin, but not too thick that it's watery. You know what I mean? So again, working by sections, I'm gonna continue with my lines. Placing those rhinestones in between the above lines, between the rhinestones. And if it does not fit right next to the letter, that's fine, guys. We're gonna go in and fill that in with smaller sizes of rhinestones. Once again, going around the cup with my lines. And then right there, you guys see the SS20 is clearly not going to fit there. So I'm going to start filling it in with smaller stones. You guys see that right there? I'm filling it in with the rhinestones. And then I'm going to continue with my lines. Don't force the rhinestones. If they don't fit, go with the smaller size, guys, because overlapping rhinestones will fall off. Right there again, you guys see me filling in those gaps, not forcing anything. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, and fill it in with smaller stones. I can't stress it enough, guys. I don't want your rhinestones falling off, you know, in the future. So go with whatever size fits for the fill-in gaps right there. And I do like to hold my cup downwards like this, because that's gonna make sure that my stones kind of, you know, stay in place. They're not sliding off, you know what I mean? So again, working on another section, guys, I am applying that epoxy right in between the letters. And depending how fast you work, guys, that's how big your section should be. You know how fast you work. If this is your first time, work with smaller sections. Right there, you guys see me filling in that gap between the S and the K. I'm putting whatever rhinestones fit, starting off with the bigger sizes and working my way to the smaller stones. Sorry guys, the focus was just not working with me this day. I don't know why, but I hope you guys get the idea of what I'm doing here. Like I said, I am just filling in those gaps between the letters with the stones as I go working with my sections. And I hope I am making myself clear when I am explaining to you guys right here how I am filling in those gaps next to the letters. I am using the 20 for the majority of the cup, but if it does not fit next to the letter, I'm not going to force it, guys. I'm going to fill it in with the smaller stones. You guys see those gaps right there? I'm just going in with smaller stones and filling it in and doing my rows as I go. I'm going to continue to do this for the whole cup. And you guys can see that honeycomb look right there. It's looking beautiful. I feel like the honeycomb looks beautiful on cups that are one size, guys. Like this one that it's just one straight size all the way to the bottom. At the end, it is a little bit curvy, but it's not much of a difference, you know what I mean? So you can still pull off that honeycomb look. It makes it look nice and fancy and uniform. It just looks so pretty. So again, right there, guys, I am filling in those gaps in between the letters. Make sure they are not overlapping each other. Again, sorry about the focus right there. This is how it's looking so far. And if you do get a bit of the epoxy around, all you have to do is get a alcohol wipe or some alcohol and rub it while it's still fresh, and it'll come right off, guys. You guys see that, how I cleaned that off real quick? That's how you clean it off, guys. So don't freak out, just make sure you do it before it dries. I'm gonna continue my rows with the SS20. I do like to hold it upside down because I like how it kind of, in a way drags the rhinestones upwards, I guess you can say, or downwards because the cup is upside down. And it works as my guide in making sure that the rhinestones do stay in place. But like I said, always do double check your work. Make sure your rhinestones don't slide a little bit too much over the rhinestones that are already on the cup, because that can happen. So just always double check your work, guys. Trust me, it's gonna make work much easier, and your results are gonna look even better. That's regardless whatever glue you are using. If you don't want to use epoxy and you are using something else, always double check your work. Remember, guys, a fresh batch of epoxy every section you do, placing half of each and applying it to your area. And I am just showing you guys fill-ins in between the letters so you guys can get an idea. So when you guys do it, you know, you have an idea of how it's supposed to look, how you're supposed to do it. You know, don't force the rhinestones, guys. I told you, make sure, you know, put what fits and then go in with your fill-ins, like right there, how you guys see. It's gonna make it look clean and not clumpy, and your rhinestones are going to stick. So right here, guys, I am done filling in the last letter. I'm gonna go ahead and do my last few rows for the tumbler, following the same steps, going in between the above lines, following that honeycomb guide all the way around row per row. And now I'm gonna go ahead and combine that line. You guys see it coming together, filling in those last little fill-ins around the S. I'm gonna do one more full row of that SS20 rhinestones all the way around. And now to finish off the cup, I'm gonna do 2 more rows at the bottom of the cup where it is curved, right there you guys see. And now I'm gonna continue the honeycomb following the guide of the last line all the way around. It is curving, guys, so the pattern is going to switch a little bit. For this first row, I am going to be able to get away with just using SS20 all the way around, but for that second row, I'm not going to be able to because it is getting smaller, guys, so the pattern is not going to follow directly, okay? So there's going to be spots where the 20 is obviously not going to fit, and I'm going to have to fill it in with smaller rhinestones, downsizing with one size. So I'm going to be using the 16 to fill those gaps in. So I am done with this first row, and like I said, it's going to be all 20s, but now this second row, I'm starting off with the 20s like I told you guys, but when you start seeing that the 20 does not fit anymore, you're going to see a little gap in between the rhinestones where it should fit, and it's kind of going to be kicking it out of the way. So you're going to have to double check everything is how it's supposed to be, but like I said, it's going to start kicking it out of the way right there where you guys see that it's kind of like a little gap in between the rhinestones. I'm moving them around so they fit, and I'm going in with the 16 to fill in that gap. It's not very noticeable, guys, and it's only for this last row because it is curved and it is getting smaller. You know what I mean? So just going in with the smaller size and continuing with the SS20 because it'll start fitting again. You know what I mean? So just continue with your honeycomb, but if it starts overlapping, add a smaller size, which would be the 16. And go ahead and continue. I had a few of those, maybe about like 4 fill-in sizes. So it's not much. See right there where I'm leaving those gaps, I'm going to go in with the fill-in size. And since the row is getting smaller, there was an area where the gap was just too small. The 16 didn't even fit either. So what I did was I just spreaded out those 20s a tiny little bit, and it just blends in, guys. You can't even tell the difference, you know? So it didn't affect the look at all, but it was just that one small section. It was about 3 rhinestones. You guys can see right there. I'm moving them around. Don't forget to double check your work, and that is it, guys. I am done. Look how cute this cup came out. I love it. It's super cute. It has that AB look, and if you look at it a certain way, it looks pink also, which I love it. It's like two-tone. This video really does not give it justice, guys. It's way cuter in real life, but like always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little something. Go ahead and bling out your Tumbler. And now that you know how to do it, like and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you guys in the next one.